So the delay in the justice's final call for a ruling date continues. What's taking so long? Let us turn to Professor Song Se-ryun for more. It's good to have you back, Professor Song.
Good morning.
So I do have to ask once again, why do you think President Yoon's impeachment ruling got pushed into April? Why is it taking longer than we all expected?
Well, we were expecting a quick turnaround, but the law says they can only have to make the decision within 180 days. So anytime before June, they could say they are on time. But you're right. The hearing part of it has ended more than a month ago. And the previous examples show that the conferences of judges don't really take that much time. But I have to say that each case has its own dynamics and therefore its own schedule. In this case, we can just summarize some of the things that makes it a longer process. Issues are complex. Clearly, there were procedural issues, substantive issues, and because the criminal trial is ongoing at the same time, some witnesses took fifth or refused to testify, so there were some complications about that. And unlike some people's contentions, yes, the acts may be clearly unconstitutional, but the next question is whether it is serious enough to strip him off the office of the president. So these kind of discussions apparently take longer. And I think another political situation is that the country is evenly divided. So the justices know that whatever decisions they come up with, they will be attacked or questioned ad hominem. So one possibility is that they have reached the decision already, but they might be taking a very long time to write a decisions because the text has to be very persuasive and error-free. So they could be one of the possibilities, or they might be just genuinely divided about the differences of opinions, not to get to the unanimous votes, but to talk about the issues, to get to the necessary elements to take the final vote.
Maybe the delay itself speaks for itself, how complicated, complex, and serious the whole case is. But what's widely believed is that the court's announcement for a ruling date will come after this Wednesday when by-elections are taking place. What's your take on it, Professor Song?
Well, that's understandable because a judicial process usually looks at the political process and not to interfere with it. So any kind of big elections, even the by-elections, they want to stay clear of it as much as possible. So announcing it after Wednesday, when it is over, makes sense. In this case, it's a delay of a couple more days, even if they are all done with their processes.
But can we be certain that the ruling will be wrapped up before April 18th? Can we be sure of that?
Well, nothing is sure in life. We
Indeed
learned that in real time. But there are continue to have the indication that that is the case. As discussed before, April 18th, it's like a cliff-like deadline where two justices come off the bench. And if that happens, we pass that date, things will get more difficult to do it. So I think that the justices are all mindful of that deadline. And the Constitutional Court has shown many examples or behaviors to hasten or to expedite this proceedings. So I don't think that has changed. And in terms of decisions, they don't have to reach a unanimous votes on both sides to impeach or not to impeach. The only question is whether they have the 6 votes on the impeachment. If not, they can take a vote and announce that the impeachment is rejected. So I don't think it's the difficulty of a deadlock situation. It's not like a hung jury situation in a jury trial. So I think that the process can be hastened as long as the conference of the judges part is over.
And in the meantime, the person who is at the center of this whole political turmoil, President Yoon, is keeping rather quiet and maintaining a low profile, I have to say. What do you think the reason is behind his silence?
Well, I think it's too early to be too public from the president's point of view. Anybody who's waiting for the decision, it's better to look like that person respects the court's forthcoming decision and humbly await the court's final words. And one bad publicity coming from him or anybody associated with him can be a disastrous burden to the court and to his chances of getting cleared. So at this point, I think he's setting an example that he will be quiet so that others can also be quiet because, as we know, his supporters, some of them are radical and very extreme. They can even bring some violence. So at this point, I think the president would be very careful about that. But I wouldn't be surprised if he makes some statements. For example, the wildfire statement. He wants to be presidential in preparation for the chances that he can come back to become the leader once again. So I think he will be very selective, but his silence is strategic as well.
So maybe he doesn't want to take the risk of causing unnecessary drama like violence.
Right. At this point, the drama is very bad, can be a very bad happening to the president. Any kind of misstatement, any kind of misconstrued actions, too early champagnes or too defeatist statements, those can influence not only the public, but the justices. Justices are not sequesters. They watch news, they hear what people say, although they want to be to take some distance with the public opinions and so on and so forth. But Constitutional Court, by characteristics of it, is on one hand plunged in the public opinions and what happens in the society. So I would be very careful in terms of how he can adversely affect either the public opinion or the justices in the Constitutional Court.
Professor Song, it's always good to have you with us. This morning, as always, you have a wonderful day.
You too. Thank you.